Welcome back to the Best of the West, presented by the Gundam Evolution New Type League. And of course,
talking about, for example, how they had to target Gasman, who was a player on last second. And there's going to be a lot of similarities between what we just heard from Enders and what we could potentially see in this game. However, there are some new factors added to this. You know, players like Zyros, who haven't been able to be in here before as much, or the differences of the players on Team Last Second. But regardless, this is going to be, for sure, a top-tier match.
Yeah, and so we do have the map pick, so let's go ahead and check that out. As, again, we had some interesting ones, and we're kind of a little bit disappointed we didn't get to see any domination maps, so maybe hopefully this time around we will, because those tend to be a treat when it comes down to it. But coming in for our last second versus Char matchup, it's going to be Colony Trading Post getting banned out first from last second.
Maybe they just saw how well Char did on that map, and they're like, you know what, let's not do that. But Flak Fort banned again, a very early ban. We're going to Quarry, a map that was banned in the last set, so already we're going to be seeing something new guaranteed. And it does seem like there might be a chance for domination. Not in the main matches. Harbor City once again.
Yeah, it looks like maybe possibly 2 domination bans coming in a row. And yeah, there it is. Thermal plants. We'll see. Underground Command Center. Okay, so Mountain R&D. That will be the decider map if this goes to a 3. And if honestly, even though we've got this kind of running curse of just 2 zeros up until our grand finals, this is one of those matchups, like you said, where I can definitely see this going all 3 maps.
Yeah, just based on these teams, the fact that these teams have almost kind of had a rivalry in a way. Of course, it's not the full team of Team Mafty. It is an offshoot. However, some of their best players are on Team Char, so this should be really interesting to see. Of course, Last Second was the team that managed to pull off the first upset against Team Mafty, beating them in the grand finals with a 3-0 reverse sweep of the previous GENL event that we had, as well as Last Second took first place of the Creature Cup, I believe it's called. So they've been doing very, very well for themselves. Team Mafty, of course, was our reigning champion for a very long time, and they've won some tournaments since we've seen all of you last as well. So this is really 2 of our strongest teams that we have in the tournament, and they're already meeting just to see who can even make it guaranteed in the winner's bracket to the second day. It's a very, very early treat, I would say, for all of us.
Yeah, and it's difficult to try and gauge the strength of Team Char right now. Like you said, a roster that we haven't seen compete together in this iteration, but all strong players across the board regardless, and they had a pretty convincing victory there in our first match of the day. So really hoping for a full 3-map set. We'll find out though. We're going to take one short break as we get the match set up and all of our players into lobby. And when we do, we'll be right back for our second match of the day here for the Best of the West, presented by the Gundam Evolution New Type League. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back right after this. All right, welcome back to the Best of the West presented by the Gundam Evolution New Type League. We are entering into our first winners semifinal match between Last Second and Char. We are here, of course. Joining me once again, we got Evan Hashimoto, Wonder Chef, breaking down this match.
Oh, yes, I'm so excited for this. We're on Quarry, and we're already seeing, I don't know if this is true, I don't know if it's a lock-in, but Gasman hovering over the Zaku 2 melee, a suit that we haven't seen for a long time. I don't know how long it's been since we've seen a spin to win, but we've also got an Exia, a suit that's very much fallen out of favor. We are one away from the full brawler comp on the side of Team Last Second, and on the other side, we've got other suits we don't usually get to see. David still once again on that new Gundam, committing to that Omni James back on the Zaku 2 range that we saw in the last set, putting in so much work. So I am super excited. Gasman actually changing up Last Second, of course. We'll see if it is a lock-in to that gym, but that's another one that we don't get to see that often.
Yeah, we don't get to see Jim often, but that double kind of fire going down with the help of Ashmar on that exponent could be incredibly strong in trying to just maybe focus down this Zabi with it. Early cheese coming up from Zyros, though, gets himself up to 8 charge there on his G maneuver, but now as Last Second charges up, Amano's got to be careful. He's dropped down low on that Pale Rider. They will be able to get go ahead and push up. It doesn't look like there's anyone playing defensively on that high ground. David is the first one to find the pick. That's going to be Blue Jay going down, instantly repaired as well by Wiki. But so far, it's going to be Char just trying delaying things, but James ends up falling on that Zaku 2 range. They do still push them back, though, at the very least, and so it's even trades basically across the board. Still, it's going to favor the offense as they fight over this waypoint.
They are taking some ground, but the problem is I don't know if they have the power to actually take it. I'm glad that they're holding this offensive position as they're waiting for players to run back, though. I think it's a really, really smart move. They've got that little bit extra support, the defense and the healing from Gasman on that gym, which can be kind of that like great secondary support. Ooh, Zusi just barely getting down on the health pack, and they're not going to be able to get that pick up. Really unfortunate. Gasman going down as well, and this looks like this might be a full reset as we're going to see Wiki retreat a little bit. Everybody else is retreating a little bit. They're not going to be able to push for at least the respawn timer here.
Yeah, Zyros is doing a fantastic job on that Ashmar, just controlling space, and that's what you really need to be able to do. You can see Exponent take it to the skies to look for a molly of his own, but it's not the biggest of groups coming out, not the biggest of clumps coming out from Char. Ooh, 11 HP. He will end up taking that pack. It does seem like it's a 2-for-1 exchange, though. James falling ultimately as Last Second are sent packing once again back to their respawn.
Oh, and this is a much more full wipe than we've seen before, so that means that they're going to have to fight for even a little bit more of that forward positioning than they had. They're going to have to get at, I mean, just really harassed as they're walking down this center lane. Amano, though, is going to get some really nice positioning here up on the high ground. We have seen Amano do so much damage before, been the MVP of many, many matches in my eyes, and if they can get some nice shots up here, one pick could mean everything.
So right now, the picks are just coming in from Char, and so he hasn't been able to find an opening for himself quite yet on the other side. Char, though, for the defense, they've got two G maneuvers available. Mono will be able to take out Kaiser, and he is not in a recoverable position. That's a Zabi going down. So a lot of their front line is back. You can see now Last Second are still trying to find an opening here. They're not ready to push in quite yet. James is getting chased down, but there it is. The Heat Hawk slash to find one, but the Hades comes in from behind just to try and equalize things out. We do have the Hades pop right off the alligator, but he has been pushed back into that hallway, and so finally Last Second break the defense. They will be able to get that waypoint, but now they're left with 1:30. They still have to plant.
I mean, there have been worse situations, but they're only going to get 1 or maybe 2 full pushes onto a site. Let's see which they decide. We usually see B, but we saw last game a lot more A's. However, this is a big commitment from Enders to defend B with the Screaming Nimbus. That is going to be 2 players on the side of Last Second going down. Gasman actually switching over to the Sazabi is going to be going down. They're really trying to push in with as much shield as they possibly can, but nobody is up. This might have to be a regroup on the side of Last Second. David as well, potentially going to get some picks with those drones. No, not quite enough with the funnels. There's going to be a little bit of run back and healing, but this is for sure the final push for Last Second.
Oh, they lose out on 2 as well as they try to push in for Last Second. Things are looking absolutely dire. James is doing a fantastic job as well on that Zaku 2 range. really throughout all that, he was able to capture that waypoint, and the waypoint has been neutralized once more. So it's back to the starting line basically for the last second as they are getting absolutely stagnant here. Char gonna shut them down here on our first point. Another pickup coming out from Kaiser, and now with only 27 seconds remaining, last second are now pushed back to their spawn.
I don't think there's enough time no matter what happens here. It looks like they are just too far away. If you're back at your spawn at this amount of time, there's just, I mean, literally it's just one of the longest runs that you can have on offense. So they're just playing for a little bit of damage right here just to mess around, mess with their aim, but I don't think they're going to be able to have a chance. Not even a single plant on A or B here in the first offense for last second. And now Char only needs to get a little bit of time and they will be taking game number 1, but we'll see if last second can hold down this choke point as well as Char did.
Yeah, just a complete shutdown going out there. That's an absolutely amazing defense coming out from Char, but it goes to show, of course, they know how to play this map. Not only is it enough to win the team fights out, even if you get pushed off of that waypoint, you can't come back to try and cap that from behind and delay things for the offense. Beautiful job coming out from Char here for last second, though. Now they need to put up a similar defense just to try and get the draw on this map, and we don't get to see that fairly often here on Quarry.
I have to point out David's damage on the new Gundam. I keep saying it, but we just haven't seen that much new Gundam in a tournament before. You know, we've seen a little bit of it, but with the changes that it got, they did increase the damage that the funnels deal overall. They lowered they increased the cooldown on it, made it a little bit stronger overall, and it looks like that, along with some of the changes to like its walk speed while it's ADSing and a little bit of its survivability, it looks like that's really putting in a lot of work. Of course, we all know David, one of the best players in the entire league. So to switch from a tank role to whatever new Gundam technically is, it's really nice to see that in just ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah, we'll put him at like the off tank role, definitely helping out, especially if you end up losing out on your Sazabi early on. David can just slot in as a secondary tank. And so now with last second swapping on over, Gasman picking up his titular, basically Barbatos. Everyone knows him for that one. So he's going to be on the defense for that. So he's going to play that similar role that James was, trying to play that flanker. If things go bad, if they end up losing out the waypoint, we're going to be looking towards Gasman and try and play that back line to get that back for them. But now, as the rollout comes through, you can see David, the only one playing for the right-hand side. They all try to clear out that left-hand side, pushing up onto Gasman, who is controlling, and he finds that first pick onto Enders.
Oh, so quick off the bat. And this is Gasman's specialty. Of course, this is an infamously strong level for Barbatos. Now, Barbatos did get a little bit of a nerf on the overall combo if you start it from the downward stab, like with the move that we just saw right there. But Barbatos overall is going to have the same game plan, and especially if you get one full charge or just the ability to just rush down a low HP, it's going to work well. But Gasman's going to go down. Zusi's going down as well. Amano gets a pick, but that's going to be the waypoint for sure for Char, and they have 3 minutes and 45 seconds to just get 1/4 of this plant off.
Yeah, in stark contrast to last second, who struggled and basically had 1:50 remaining when they finally were able to pick that one up. Zyrus, though, trying to find one on his own. The Gundam Unicorn there in the 1v1. He will be able to take him down, but they should be able to get the repair and get him back in. Never mind, Zyros will be able to finish off one more as well. Blue Jay falling now. He's here on the high ground. They haven't planted quite yet. We'll see in just a moment if last second can try and continue to push up. But right now, it's just exchanges. Gasman on this Barbatos is creating so much chaos for them.
I mean, that is exactly what that suit wants to do, and Gasman, of course, being one of our best Barbatos players, maybe, honestly, even in the world. Of course, rank 1 in the world for a while, at least. Oh, but Ender is trying to get away. Oh, goes down. Gasman surviving in 63. Oh, just walked into the mine. No way.
Yeah, the Mega Charge, though, ticking away, and there it is. They were able to get it down, and Char will be able to take our first map in this best of 3 here in the semifinals.
Oh, yeah, that was a quick turnaround right there. That was Char just showing how strong they are. It's gonna be Offbeat Alligator. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know who Offbeat Alligator is. Is Offbeat Alligator, does anybody know? Is that somebody under a different name, or is that just a player like from like a different region that wasn't able to play? It's just not somebody that I'm familiar with, and I feel like that may be embarrassing, but they are absolutely killing it. They were killing it too as well in the last set. If anybody out there has any information, please tell me, because I'm a fool. But that was I mean, I think Char is looking very, very strong to make it all the way. Of course, there's the other side of Team Mafty, and they haven't won this set quite yet, but just with their coordination and their individual strength, it is looking very good for them as their first tournament as a set team.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe some players are just kind of shaking off the rust right now and try to get back into the flow of things, but we are seeing some great things so far out of Team Char. That's 3 maps in a row where they have been able to win out fairly convincingly whatsoever. We're going to go ahead and take a short break, though. When we get back, we'll have map number 2 right after this. What a stat line. Take a look at that. David with almost 30,000 damage.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I pointed out during the game, but just to see it overall at the end, that is ridiculous. I love these new stats, by the way. I love the fact that we get to look at this. Of course, some players do play suits that do end up being a little bit less damage, some play more. Stats are never anything in any game, but this is a really good look as to how suits are performing, how players are performing with those suits. Offbeat Alligator, I did learn, is Baranox. I got like 6 different answers from chat, and I was like, okay, clearly it's somebody I know, and they're all just trolling me, but I figured it out. And oh my gosh, you could look at some of the KD ratios. Look at how wildly they vary. There are some 24s in there.
Yeah, 24s. That's going to be both for Enders and Baranox on that Pale Rider, both doing a fantastic job. And of course, you know, especially when it comes down to those very stable kind of positions, right? Your hit scan along with your Dom Trooper player. No surprises there whatsoever. We are waiting on map number 2 of the set. We'll see if Char can just go ahead and run a 4 quick maps in a row for themselves. They are looking absolutely stellar right now.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier today, I was like, oh yeah, you know, I think everybody's going to be a lot closer. We're not going to get as many 2-0s, but so far Char is kind of trying to prove me wrong right there. They are just working so well as a team. I mean, I know I just keep pointing it out, but I really love the new Gundam usage. It was just barely under being that full level of like, it just like having a good place on a team, I guess you could say. And it looks like it's kind of finally broken through there. We're seeing new Gundams on a good amount of teams, but we'll see what happens here. I do kind of expect Char to stick with the same team comp they've been using, plus the Gym Sniper, which will then switch later, because we have seen them on this map already today. But Last Second has a lot of options, and we did see Gasman switching between, I think, 5 different suits so far.
Yeah, we saw him on Sazabi for a little bit. Of course, we got to see the Barbados as well, but right now it looks like Last Second might be trying to reacquire an identity for themselves. Really, it was a lot of off the back of the moments that Gasman was able to find on the Barbados play. So not being able to kind of stick with that identity might be punishing them here. So it's kind of like a reacquiring basically for them. But here we go. We are now on Harbor City for our second map. Last Second starting off on the offense once again. Big grenade coming out from Zyros once more on that Ashmar.
The enemy is here.
And Gasman flying above. So weird to see Gasman not on the Barbados. Give him a gun, call him Gatman. Oh, but here's the first big push, and already a mono going down. Blue Jay is low. We're going to see a lot of picks on the side of Last Second, but actually the original really low. Some of them getting picked back up. This is actually a great first push, and that is going to be nearly the full team down on the side of Char. As soon as I thought that was going to be a lot of picks, I was completely wrong. They all survived at like 1 HP.
Yeah, the big difference maker here is that Last Second, they were not running that Gym Sniper. So they weren't going into the sniper duels. They wanted to just death ball up together, clump up, and push in, and not give Offbeat Alligator that opportunity to try and find that pick. Now, this is going to be interesting. We'll see if he wants to stick on to that Gym Sniper here on the defense, but that will be the first point going over towards Last Second. Kaiser with a cheeky little peek to see them crossing the bridge for now, but because of how quickly Last Second were able to take that, there's no G maneuvers really available, so we're gonna have to be coming off with just sheer aim right there. There it is, the first knock, and the second coming in for Devotion, taking out Blue Jay. So a small stumble on the defense there for Char, but they will be able to regain their footing here on the bridge.
Ooh, this is an annoying angle to deal with. If anybody's ever fought a good Ashmar that can, or really any sort of aerial mobile suit that can fight over that wall and kind of just do that extra level of damage while you're trying to even get to the choke point, it is absolutely obnoxious in the best way possible, of course. And Zyros, of course, a great Ashmar player. Kaiser as well, doing a little bit of aggression, throwing the axe over the wall, but now Devotion took the brunt of that damage, and this is a full push coming in with a pick from Gasman.
Now we do have the Screaming Nimbus though coming out from the other side as Char will be able to stop them, hold in their tracks, and pushing them back. And actually it was just a punch coming out from Zyros. Never mind, they did not utilize that Screaming Nimbus. Enders will be able to hold on to that one. We talk about it time and again when it comes to fighting over this bridge. Those are the two G maneuvers that you're really looking at for that hold. And so this time around, it's going to come down to Enders being able to pop it at the right time.
Oh, speaking of popping at the right time, Anders is going to use this G maneuver to try and stagger. The Screaming Nimbus is just going to bully all of the close members. Anders not overcommitting, very, very smart, knowing that he's going to be taking a lot of damage for that. Amano has the Hades ready, as you can see right here, but look how low, 21 HP. Last Second's done a great job of staying alive with not much health this entire game. And they've now eaten through 2 G maneuvers. There's a third one technically still on with Alchemy Alligator using, of course, that Recon G maneuver, but now there's a lot less resources on the side of the defense. This could be a good push.
Yeah, Naveen will go ahead and pop his, but the Hades along with the punch is going to net them 2 kills. It's a 3 for 2 though, but again, you can see how strong Zyros has been on that Ashtamar, really allowing them to stabilize once more, but the Hades is still active now for Amano. Finally ending now as Zyros tries to go in for that punch once more, but he will get taken down though. These trades still slowing down Last Second as they're still trying to push across this bridge, allowing time for Char to try and regroup here for point B.
Oh, here we go. This is the best opportunity that they're going to have, I think. I mean, they've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, but they have great number advantage here. There is a pushback from the high ground on the side of Char, but 2 of them are still respawning. And there's a chance here that they just get picked off and staggered all the way. 2 already ticks on the point. That's going to be Exponent going down. That's going to be a lot of numbers of Last Second going down. That third tick is looking really tough to get, but at least 2 with 2 minutes left to go. That was a very effective push.
That was extremely close too, but as you can see, Blue Jay ended up going down with his G maneuver available, and that Screaming Nimbus could have been enough to turn the tides on that. But I feel like it was just a split second off that he wasn't able to utilize that one. And so that's only the 2 ticks going over for Last Second, and now it's back over towards this bridge. They have some time to work with though. 1 minute and 46 seconds, and Blue Jay can open things up with this Screaming Nimbus. Nice little damage there onto Zyros. Might be the opening they need, along with the backup of Gasmat. He has this G maneuver available too, but they're gonna try and do this one dry to get onto the point, but from behind. Looks like 2 for 2. Never mind, that's a 3 for 2 exchange. Once again, Char able to hold things down on this bridge. There's only one player remaining here. Devotion trying to send him back. He has to be careful himself. But now we're down to 1 minute and 19 seconds remaining for Last Second.
Oh no, Devotion's G maneuver could mean a ton here. We've seen that it can wipe entire teams, but it leaves you so vulnerable as you're using it. I'm excited to see if there is going to be a chance to pick up at least 1 to 2 people, especially the fact that you can push them off the map on Harbor. But we've got a lot of G maneuvers coming up for this final fight. Wiki's going to get a first pick, and here we go. We're going to get 1 person down, maybe 2 off the map. That is 2 down. That is huge, gigantic, just to be able to delay them with only 50 seconds left. This is going to be 2 picks, though, on the side of Char as well, so we're coming down to about a 3v3 here.
And he survived with about 60 HP. Zeusy, though, is going to try and backdoor this one, but he has been spotted out. Takes to the skies. Zyros says no. Only one Ashtamar can survive in the skies here. Takes him out now. 30 seconds remaining. And now, Char, they're going to have so many G maneuvers available for this last defensive hold, and they are pushing all the way back towards the bridge. Zyros holding on to that punch. There we go. Into the back line, and he will fly out safe. Something about our flyers, our pilots are on absolute fire. Amano trying to get anything going here with the Hades up, but he's not finding any damage across the board. Survives with Nevermind, no HP, 4 seconds remaining. Last Second will only be able to get 61%. Char with another beautiful defense.
That was a masterclass in the management of staggering your G maneuvers. That was a beautiful resource management showing from the side of Char. They used each one on each push at the perfect moments. They didn't overcommit any of their resources. There was never a fight that they had to take where they didn't have at least 1 really great defensive G maneuver, and it shows. I mean, just great stuff from both teams. Of course, getting 2 ticks on point B is almost a win in, it's a minor win for sure, as we've seen a million different teams not take a single tick on point B there. So great stuff from the side of Last Second. It looks like they're feeling a lot better. They're feeling a lot more solid than they were on that last map.
Yeah, but once again, Char are showing that it's an absolutely star-studded roster. 3 of their players, actually 4 of their players above 20k, but it was Zyros clear and above the rest of his squad. And we kind of expect that when it comes to Ashmar players. He had 27,000 damage while the rest, while his other 3 squad mates had maybe 22,000 around there. But when it comes down to being able to control space, control and do massive amounts of AoE damage, Zyros was showing it with both the flame along with his punch setups.
I mean, we didn't really get a chance to like visually see it, but Zyros did a punch into a flame grenade that ended up in a 5 kill for just Zyros. That is ridiculous. That is one of the strongest overall punches that I think we've maybe have ever had in this league, at least. And Zyros, again, so glad to be able to see them here and playing and showing off like what they can really do. One of the MVPs without a doubt. But here we go. It's offensive time now for Team Char. Let's see if they can make it happen.
Gonna be off the alligator, starting off once again with that gym sniper, and there's no sniper on the other side, so this is basically gonna be free for him to be able to play at complete range. Not finding an opening quite yet. He does know that there's an Ashmar off to the side, keeping an angle on that. Zyros takes to the sky, tries to get that flame down, but you can see that the death ball of last second backs away. Wiki finds that first pick, and it's Zyros who ends up going down, but that's a 1-for-1 exchange, and of course we know how well these exchanges work out for the offense. As offbeat alligator finds one more, and there it is. It's slow goings, it's not as fast as last second we're able to push onto the points, but they are doing their due diligence. They are clearing out all their corners as they push on up, and they will be able to get onto the point.
This is it's a slow but a solid push. I really like it. Nobody really jumped ahead and overcommitted. They wanted to make sure they were safe, and now they're going to have the ability to, since they have so many people up, to kind of preemptively try to challenge this choke point a little bit, at least make sure they're not being held on the bridge. In fact, we're going to see Devotion moving forward pretty heavily right here. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much. Going to back up and just play safe, but I like the fact that they're taking their space as they're moving into the second choke point.
Nice little pickup there, but they should be able to get the repair onto Zusi, but throughout all of that, as they try to go for it, they end up losing out on 2. And so now the presence on that bridge basically on Wiki does get repaired back on up, but the numbers advantage is still here for Char, and they have G maneuvers available. Defeat is holding on to his own as they are already regrouping here to push off to the bridge. And there it is, the G maneuver going on down. They will check their corners, but it looks like the bridge has been evacuated as they try and fall back. Blue Jay ends up going down to beat on the front line with the backup of his squad. They try to go for a miracle repair, and they get him back on up. Blue Jay will instantly go back down, but you can see the trades coming out from last second, staggering out this push from Char.
Ender's going down. That is going to slow them down a decent amount, but they're still holding this forward position. They're going to get that pickup. Oh, they got the repair, but then immediately goes right back down. However, there's going to be a trade in the end, and this is looking really strong for last second to be able to defensively hold this. Just with that pickup, that is essentially like a 2-for-1 trade. Wiki is going to push forward with that G maneuver to try to just get that extra little bit of damage and a little bit of protection, closing out this push for sure. Oh, that flame grenade was huge. It did so much damage. You can see how low Mono is. Blue Jay is getting pinned down as well, but I don't know if Char has the power here to fully make this push.
Well, they have the punch though, and that's been powerful enough, potent even for Zyros. He just needs to find that angle now, chasing them down. They have backed off into a corner. You can see full group really playing around that death ball once again. Could prove to their detriment if Zyros finds his opening. All 6 members now regroup here to try and defend point B, as Char actually pretty split up, trying to look for an opening here. And again, that flame grenade coming out from Zyros. The punch is there in the back line, and now we've got the Screaming Nimbus out from Enders for good measure. Amano, the only one up for his squad, tries to go for a miracle repair here. Will be able to get it off, but they've already basically secured 1 tick for the squad. We'll see if the second one comes in for Char.
Oh, Devotion going in again with that G maneuver, going to not have any effect though. It just managed to steal a little bit of time, and they need to stay on this point. They need to keep contesting it. Blue Jay's going to be using the Screaming Nimbus, chasing down Enders. They are going to get a few picks, but this is a 1-for-1, and oh no, it looks like somebody may have gotten off the point, and that is going to be Char, taking it just barely. It seemed like there were people there, but did everybody just step off at the same moment?
It looks like maybe there were 1 or 2 players remaining for the defense for last second, but no surprises there. Zyros able to pick up that MVP, and he was doing a stellar job on that Ashmar throughout both the offense and the defense. So congratulations, we have our first squad for our winners finals, and that will be Char moving on to tomorrow's games. They can now just watch the rest of today's broadcast in the lap of luxury, basically, at this point, as our teams battle it out. We do have 1 more semifinals match that will be taking place after this, and then after that, we will be moving down to our lower bracket. and basically slog through that. We have a lot more games in store for you. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we get back, we'll have our second winners semifinals match after this. map there. So if we can take a look at that quite quickly, because again, I love being able to take a look at these stats after the game just to see what our players were able to put up. And those numbers are absolutely absurd. Offbeat Alligator with almost 40k damage on Quarry, but not to be outdone. Look, David, Zyros, Enders, all really close behind him.
There were also some great numbers on the other side as well from Team Last Second. We had, 26s from Exponent and Wiki, and then Amano, of course, one of the best Pale Rider players that we've seen with that 32k. And just looking at these strictly damage numbers, again, I always want to stress that stats are not everything by a huge margin. I want to say that I've heard this too as well. I think Pale Rider is back to being one of the stronger suits overall. We saw a lot of the Pale Rider players switching off to try out like the Hyperion or try out a few different other options during the last kind of meta that we had. But you can see here the Pale Riders leading their respective packs with Amano and Offbeat Alligator. We're kind of back to seeing that as a core strong damage dealer on the team.
Yeah, context is the most important thing when it comes to stats, right? You can't just look at raw stats and just be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. You have to be able to put it into context. And for the incredible showing that we had out of Char for the other side, right? The opponent's DPS to be able to put up that number